Hi and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make menudo. This is my recipe on how I make menudo. And in English they call it tripe, soup of tripe. So it's beef tripe. This is what we're going to use. So we're using 5.5 pounds of beef tripe. And then we're using 2 pounds of bone. So it's this is just bone for flavor that we're gonna use, beef bone for flavor for our soup. It gives it such a good flavor. I know some people don't like to use bones or pig feet, but that gives your menudo flavor. So that's why we use it. So yeah, this is 2 pig feet that are cut into halves and they're nice and clean. We're gonna wash everything and then we're gonna put it to cook. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna wash the pig feet and the bone. We're gonna rinse it really well and put that to cook in a separate pot because that releases a little bit more fat than the tripe. And then once we give it a good boil to our pig feet and to our bone for flavor, then once we give it the first boil, we're gonna get rid of that water and then put those bones and the pig feet in our tripe soup to cook, and that we do separate. And then our tripe, we're gonna wash really good and take away the excess fat that's on it. And then after we take the excess fat, we're gonna cut it into little squares and then we're gonna put it to cook and boil. Once it gives us the first boil, we're gonna get rid of that water because it has excess fat, and then we're gonna put it again to cook on more water, clean water, and then add more salt and garlic. And the first boil of water that we use, we add lemon because lemon will clean it up and make it nice and pretty. So we're gonna make menudo and it's gonna be delicious. It's called chili pots. Sometimes it's guajillo, sometimes there's California, or there's pasilla. You could use whatever chili you like. I like to use California chili pots. And I just cut them. I cut the top off and then I open them from the middle. And then we take all the seeds out. And we take the seeds out, and once we do that, we put them to boil for about 5 minutes so they could soften, and then we make the chili. In the chili, we're gonna put half of a teaspoon of salt, half of a teaspoon of garlic salt. We're gonna put half of a teaspoon of oregano, one quarter of a teaspoon of cumin, and it's crushed, and then 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper. So this is whole pepper. And that's what we're gonna put in our chili. And we're gonna put our chiles and then we're put it all in the blender and we're gonna blend it and then make our chili for our menudo to give that red, nice color to our menudo soup or tripe soup. So here we have our menudo bones, the bones that we're gonna use for flavor. So we already washed them. We gave them about 3 rinses. And those are the pig feet and the bone that has the flavor. And now we're gonna put them to cook. And then we're gonna let them cook for about 40 minutes. And I'm gonna squeeze some lemon in there, some lemon lime. So we're gonna squeeze the juice of a lemon lime in there. And then we're gonna add a little bit of salt. About half of a teaspoon of salt, and this is sea salt. So yeah, even though we cover it, we don't cover it completely. We want to give it a little bit of breathing area, because if you cover it completely, it's gonna overlap and it's gonna spill over the pot. So here we have our bones cooking and the pork feet that's gonna give flavor to your menudo soup. So just make sure that once it's boiling, it's gonna release some of that gooey stuff, scum or debris I call it. Just make sure that you remove it because you don't want that on your bones or on your soup. Let's see, I did my this little thing and remove all the debris that comes out. Even though this water, we're gonna throw it away and we're gonna still put our pork feet in our soup, I still remove it because if you don't remove it, it's gonna stick to it. So you don't want that. So see? So we're throwing all that away, getting rid of it. And we're gonna keep on letting it cook. And we're almost ready to put our tripe to cook. I'm gonna turn this on at medium high. And we already washed all our tripe and we pretty much rinsed it like 3 times already. So we rinse our tripe like 3 times and now it looks pretty clean. So we're gonna put it to cook. So we're gonna cook it with we're gonna put salt and lemon on it, and we're gonna give it we're gonna let it cook for about 20-30 minutes, and once it's done, we're gonna throw that water away and put new water, and then we're gonna do our final cooking of our tripe soup, which is menudo. So see, we cut it in little squares. We washed it and we removed the majority of the fat. There's still gonna be a little bit of fat on some little squares, but you're fine. Once it's cooking, it's gonna start to melt some of it. Like this one, I'm taking it out because this is too much fat on it. So here's our tripe. We're gonna start cooking it. So we're gonna squeeze half of a lime in our tripe, half of the lime juice. And then we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of sea salt. So sea salt. And we're gonna let it cook for about 30 to 40 minutes. And once it's done cooking for that much time, we're gonna throw that water away and then put clean water, and then we're gonna make our menudo. Because we wanna get rid of some of the fat and the scum that comes out of the tripe. Now that I clean all our peppers, our chili pots, we're gonna put them on the water that we put to boil. So for 5 minutes so they could loosen up the skin, and then we'll make our chili for our menudo soup. So here's our tripe. Now we're putting it in water. Now we're gonna add our 5 garlics. So here we're adding half of an onion. And then we're adding a teaspoon of salt. And the salt we're using is sea salt. So that's a teaspoon of salt. And then we're gonna get the bones that we cooked over here on the side. We're gonna throw away all that water with fat that it has. And now we're gonna be able to add all our, I'm gonna turn it on to medium high. So the reason we use bones and even the pork feet that we add to our menudo is to give it flavor. It gives it a different flavor. So here's our, gonna add our bones that we pre-cooked for 40 minutes. And now they release all the gooey stuff that comes out of the bones and then the fat. So now here they are, the pig feet that is gonna give flavor to your menudo. So we're adding it. And that's it. And we're gonna cook this for we're gonna cook it for about 45 minutes. So here we are, we're gonna make our chili for our menudo. So we're gonna get the chilies that we put in the water and we just boil them for 5 minutes. We just wanna loosen up the skin and get some of the flavor out. So we're gonna put the chilies in there, and we're gonna add about a cup of water of our chili sauce, of the water that we had the chili boiling in. So see, we have about a cup of water. And now we're gonna add half a teaspoon. It's actually a teaspoon of salt, half of a teaspoon of garlic salt, half of a teaspoon of oregano, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, and it's ground cumin, and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, whole pepper. And that's what we're gonna blend to make our chili. And I'm gonna add about 2 teaspoons of diced onions with a little bit of cilantro. So we're gonna blend it and make our chili for our menudo. And this is what's gonna give it flavor, and it's gonna give it color too. So now that we gave it a good blend for about 3 minutes, now we're gonna strain it, because we want to get rid of the any seeds that went through and the chili skin. The reason I don't like to put the skin and the chili skins, because it makes it gets a little bit bitter. So I like to strain it. So see. So we're gonna strain it, get rid of all that, the skin and all the seeds. So our chili is ready for our menudo to give it color and flavor. So see, it's ready. So we got rid of the excess skin and the seeds. So we're not gonna use that, so that we're gonna throw away. And it's ready, our chili is ready. So now we cooked the menudo for 20 minutes, and now we're gonna add the chili for flavor and color. So we're just gonna add it all because we already strained it. Now we're gonna mix it. Smells delicious. Like you could already smell the menudo. See? And see how much menudo it was? We almost used 6 pounds. And look how I cut the little squares, and they look pretty much medium size, and now they're kind of like small. But that's a perfect size to me for your soup. To me, that's perfect, the size of the menudo now. So now we're gonna let it cook for about 20 minutes. And it's almost done. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna taste my soup to make sure it's not missing any kind of salt or flavor. I think it's good. Because remember when we put it to cook, we added 1 teaspoon of sea salt. And then when we made our red chili, we added 1 teaspoon of salt. So it's good with salt. So now we're just gonna let it marinate, cook slowly. We have it on number 3. And we're just gonna let it cook for another 20 minutes, simmer with the flavor of the chili and the flavor of the menudo, the tripe, and it's almost done. We got another 20 minutes to go or so. So now we're gonna cover it. So here's our menudo. We finally finished cooking it. It's nice and delicious. It's ready. See, everything is nice and cooked. It's not super oily. It has a little bit of oil on top. You know, you see the little oil on the soup, but not a lot. I'm gonna throw this onion out because we already used it for the flavor that it gave to our soup. Now we're gonna wait about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna serve ourselves. And we're gonna eat some menudo. Look. Smells wonderful. I wish you could smell what I smell, but it smells wonderful. And there it is. Our menudo, homemade menudo. Let me taste a little bit of the soup just to give it a little taste. Tastes delicious. So here we are, we're gonna taste our homemade menudo. So see, it's nice and delicious. It's delicious. You can eat it with a tortilla. See? You dump the tortilla in there and you taste it and it look delicious. It tastes so good. And this is my recipe of menudo. I hope you like my recipe. Don't forget to like or subscribe. And just remember, homemade is better than, bought somewhere else. And another thing is, don't be afraid of making it. It's not that hard. It's just a little bit of, it takes a little time, but once you get into it, you find what works for you. You could always make it, and the more times you make it, the easier it gets. And this is my recipe on menudo. Thank you for coming to my channel.